You've probably heard of the 50/30/20 rule, a classic budgeting principle that promises financial clarity. It suggests dividing your after-tax income into three neat categories: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. For decades, this rule has been the go-to advice for anyone trying to get their finances in order. It's simple, easy to remember, and provides a clear framework for managing your money. But here's the million-dollar question: in today's world of soaring inflation and stagnant wages, does this rule still hold up? Or is it an outdated relic from a more stable economic era? Let's break down the classic rule first to understand its original intention. The idea was to create a balanced approach to your finances. The largest portion, 50%, is allocated to your essential expenses, the things you absolutely need to live. This includes expenses like your rent or mortgage payments, utility bills such as electricity and water, groceries, and transportation costs to get to work. It also covers essential insurance payments and minimum debt payments, as these are non-negotiable obligations. The next slice of the pie, 30%, is for your wants. This is the fun stuff, the expenses that make life enjoyable but aren't strictly necessary for survival. Think of dining out, hobbies, streaming subscriptions, vacations, and that new gadget you've been eyeing. This category is all about personal lifestyle choices. The 30% allocation was designed to give you enough room to enjoy the fruits of your labor without derailing your financial goals. It's a built-in permission slip to spend on yourself. Finally, the remaining 20% is dedicated to your financial future. This portion is meant for building your savings, investing for retirement, and paying off debt more aggressively than just the minimum payments. It's the engine of your wealth-building journey. This 20% is what helps you build an emergency fund for unexpected events, save for a down payment on a house, or pay off high-interest credit card debt faster. It's the disciplined part of the plan that ensures you're preparing for tomorrow. On paper, the 50/30/20 rule seems perfectly logical and balanced. It forces you to prioritize your needs while still allowing for some fun and ensuring you're saving for the future. For a long time, for many people, it worked beautifully. But the economic landscape has shifted dramatically. We're living in an era where the cost of living seems to be in a constant upward spiral. The needs category is where this pressure is felt most acutely. Consider housing costs, which for many are the single largest expense. In many cities, rent or mortgage payments alone can consume 40%, 50%, or even more of a person's take-home pay. That doesn't leave much room for everything else. Then add in the rising costs of groceries, utilities, and gas. What were once manageable expenses have ballooned, pushing the needs category far beyond the 50% guideline for a significant portion of the population, especially for low to middle income earners. When your essential expenses are already eating up 60% or 70% of your income, the 50/30/20 rule doesn't just bend, it breaks completely. There's simply not enough money left to allocate 30% to wants and 20% to savings. This is where the rule starts to feel less like a helpful guide and more like a source of frustration. It can make you feel like you're failing at budgeting, when in reality, the framework itself might not be suited for your economic reality. The 30% for wants also becomes a point of contention. In a high inflation environment, what used to be a want can start to feel like a need. A reliable internet connection, for example, is now essential for work, school, and staying connected. Furthermore, when you're struggling to cover basic needs, the idea of spending 30% of your income on non-essentials can seem laughably out of touch. The priority shifts from lifestyle enjoyment to simply getting by. This often leads to people sacrificing their savings. The 20% for savings and debt repayment is usually the first category to get squeezed. When you have to choose between paying your rent and putting money into a retirement account, the immediate need will always win. This is the biggest danger of rigidly sticking to an outdated rule. It can lead to a cycle where you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, with no ability to build a financial safety net or plan for the future. This creates immense stress and financial insecurity. So, if the 50/30/20 rule is broken for many, what's the alternative? We need a more flexible and realistic approach, especially for those on a lower income. Let's call it the needs first or pay yourself first, then survive method. This modern alternative flips the script. Instead of starting with a fixed percentage for needs, it prioritizes your financial future first, no matter how small the amount. The first step is to automate a savings contribution right after you get paid. This could be 5%, 3%, or even just 1% of your income. The key is to make it the very first transaction that happens. This pay yourself first principle ensures that you are always saving something, building a consistent habit. By automating this small savings contribution, you treat it like any other non-negotiable bill. It's not an afterthought, it's a priority. This simple shift in mindset can be incredibly powerful for building long-term wealth, even if the amounts are small initially. After you've paid yourself first, the next step is to cover your absolute essential needs. List them all out: housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, and minimum debt payments. Calculate the total cost of these non-negotiables. This is your survival number. This is the amount of money you absolutely must have to live each month. There's no fixed percentage here, it is what it is. For many, this will be well over 50% of their income, and that's okay. The goal is to acknowledge reality, not fight it. Once you've paid yourself first and covered your essential needs, whatever is left over is what you have for everything else. This remaining amount is your flexible spending fund. It covers your wants, but it also might need to cover variable needs or unexpected small expenses. This approach eliminates the guilt and pressure of trying to fit into predefined boxes. You're no longer trying to force your spending into a 30% wants category that doesn't exist for you. Instead, you're working with the real numbers of your life. Your flexible spending fund requires conscious decision-making. You might have to choose between a streaming service and a few cups of coffee from a cafe. It forces you to prioritize what truly adds value and joy to your life with the money you have left. This method is more about conscious spending and less about rigid rules. It's about being brutally honest about your income and expenses and then making the best possible decisions within those constraints. The beauty of the needs-first approach is its scalability. As your income increases or your essential expenses decrease, you can gradually increase the percentage you pay yourself first. That initial 1% can grow to 5%, then 10%, and maybe eventually even 20% or more. It grows with you. It doesn't set an unrealistic standard from the start. It meets you where you are and provides a clear path forward. It's a dynamic system, not a static rule. So, is the 50/30/20 rule completely useless? Not necessarily. For high-income earners or those living in low-cost-of-living areas, it can still be a perfectly effective guideline. It provides a simple and effective structure if your numbers fit. But for the growing number of people squeezed by the current economy, it's time to acknowledge its limitations. Financial advice is not one-size-fits-all. The best budget is the one that reflects your personal reality and helps you make progress, no matter how small the steps. Don't feel discouraged if your budget doesn't look like a perfect pie chart. Financial health is about progress, not perfection. Focus on paying yourself first, covering your needs, and spending consciously with what's left. That is a far more empowering and sustainable path to financial wellness in today's world. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more practical financial advice tailored for today's economy, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Financial Cake.